Good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Miramar Pembroke Pines Regional Chamber of Commerce, Western Florida Chamber of Commerce, and Pembroke Park West Park Chamber of Commerce, thank you for being here today. I do have the pleasure of introducing Lisa. Lisa does a lot of things, but the one thing she's really, really good at is HR. And that's her passion and her love, and she has influences all in some sort of way. I started as an ambassador with her, and she was my leader. So to introduce Lisa, she's the president and founder of HBL Resources. It's a full service human resources consulting firm. She is a 30-year career HR executive. She started at the age of 5, so nothing to say her age or anything. And an author of a book. So if you have no idea, you have to purchase that book because it kind of touches every single level as a business owner, as well as yourself to deal with relationships. So the Complete Manager Makeover is her book. So I know it's on Amazon, right, Lisa? As well as you can purchase through her website. It's transforming the human in human resources for every manager at every level. So today we're going to start with Chamber University. It is the second quarter. We start our second quarter with an optimizing LinkedIn profile. I missed the first one, so I don't know if most of you did, but I did miss the first one. I'm excited to know about LinkedIn because, quite frankly, mine needs a little help. So with no further ado, Lisa Perez with HBL Resources.
Thank you so much, Patty. Always great to serve my local chamber. Thank you all for being here and taking the time. I cannot believe it's the second quarter of 2022. But if you didn't get an opportunity to optimize that LinkedIn profile to ring in the new year, then let's ring in second quarter with that. And this is not a PowerPoint presentation. We are going to go live on the LinkedIn platform. I'm going to show you how to navigate a few things, ensure that you know why as well, because I think, like I said in the description, you only get one chance to make a first impression, and that is very true for your LinkedIn profile as well. You want to make sure that over 740 million profiles out there, that yours stands out, and we're going to help you do that through optimization today. So our objectives today are a few, right? We're going to understand why you should complete your profile. We'll have an overview of some of the important privacy settings as well. I'll help you implement the must-do best practices for even the most basic profile content. And then we're going to discuss some do's and don'ts of LinkedIn profile, and especially those photos that we're using out there. And then, of course, we're going to go from boring to brilliant with showing you how to use multimedia hints, your backgrounds, the experience, the education, the features sections. And then, of course, regarding connecting and not connecting, a little bit on groups. And we can only scratch the surface here. An hour is not a lot of time. This workshop is easily 2.5 hours when you really do a deep dive, but I just kind of want to give you some of the highlights today. And then we'll talk about leveraging skills, endorsements, and the recommendations on your LinkedIn page. And of course, the importance of writing invitations and messages to build relationships, to build your connections as well. So we're going to dive right in. I'm going to go ahead and queue up my LinkedIn profile, and I invite you to, open up a secondary screen. If you've got a dual monitor, go ahead and do that. This is a hands-on learning, so please feel free to follow along and take notes. And at the end, I'll definitely ensure you know how to get a copy of a handout that I have, but I want you to focus, so I didn't give you that in advance, okay? So why you should complete your profile is pretty important, right? Like I mentioned, of the 740,000 LinkedIn profiles out there, you really want to make sure that you're standing apart from the rest. And in fact, only about 68 to 70% of LinkedIn members use the platform to connect with past business associates, to reconnect. That's really all they're using it for. So that leaves a big opportunity for us as business owners and entrepreneurs to leverage that platform and go well beyond just connecting with past business associates. And in fact, 66% of companies, and that number is rapidly rising, will hire based on the experience in that LinkedIn profile. But I want to make sure that you understand your LinkedIn profile is not a resume. Your LinkedIn profile really takes that resume to that next level and makes it this 3D holistic picture of you, your experiences, your breadth of knowledge. It really sets you as a business owner and entrepreneur as the subject matter expert in your field. And I wish we had time to cover all of those things, but we'll definitely be able to cover a few things that should get your profile views a little bit higher over the next couple of weeks if you optimize it. Now, keep in mind, LinkedIn members that include skills in their profiles, that have an optimized profile, right? You get this little badge that says you've got an optimal profile, are 13 times more likely to see profile views. And that matters because I liken it to, you know, walking past somebody's office to see your suite and going like this, right? You want to be that person that is seen to your target market. And then of course, can you believe only 60 or 65% of LinkedIn users actually have a 100% completed profile? And if your profile is not 100% completed, it's not going to show up in the search engine. It's not going to show up when your target market might be looking for your service because it's at the bottom of the list. Much like above the fold, you want to be on Google, you want to have 100% completed profile on LinkedIn. So let's dive right in. I've gone ahead and shared my screen. If first, let me see, make sure you guys do see it. Thumbs up in the chat window. We've got screen share. Awesome. Thank you for that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the main reason, obviously, to complete your profile is to really ensure, like I said, that you appear in LinkedIn search results. An incomplete profile equals invisible profile. You have no presence on LinkedIn. And the search algorithm is in this specific order, right? It first seeks and displays results with profile completeness first. 100% must be complete for your profile completeness to show. Second is connections in common. You've often seen that first connection, second connection, third connection. It's going to share your first connections first and then go into the second and third. And that is by degrees of connection. How does that person know you? And then fourth is groups in common. So complete profile, connections in common, first, second, and third degree connections, and then the groups that you share in common. And we'll touch a little bit on groups. That's a whole nother 1 hour segment. Maybe I'll be invited back to share some of that with you. So as we look at our profile, the first thing I want you to do is go into your settings, right? We want to make sure that we're looking at the back end of our settings so that we can optimize a few things there. One of the first things I want to make sure that you take a look at is visibility. You'll click on visibility after you get into your settings there, and then you're going to see a couple of different things. You'll see how people will discover your profile. You'll see who you can block, things of that nature. But the first thing I want you to do when you start to work on your LinkedIn profile is right here. Share profile updates with your network. There are a few things that LinkedIn will actually share with your network as you update them in your LinkedIn profile. Now, when you're working on your profile, the last thing you want is to annoy your connections with all the updates that you are making to your LinkedIn profile. So you're going to go ahead, and as I have it here, I actually keep mine the off setting at all times because I'm always tweaking it. Always, making updates. I do that on a quarterly basis, what things that I do new. So definitely put a calendar item on your calendar to update your LinkedIn profile. What's happened new? What new client did you work on? What new project? And I'll show you where to go to get those things done. But you keep it off. But when you are ready to share that really important thing on LinkedIn that you want everybody to see, you turn that visibility back on. You go into your LinkedIn profile, you make that change because that's the change that goes out to your community. And that would be something like Patty said, earlier, I wrote this book in August. I turned on my setting to view it as the change happened. I added the change, it went out to my network, and then I turned it back off. So I'm making little tweaks along the way. All of those things aren't, being sent. Not everything gets shared. There are certain things that do and certain things that don't. We don't have time to go through that entire list, but for the purpose of your update work, go ahead and turn that off. In addition to that, back here, what you'll see is, who can see your connections, how public do you want it to be? This is really where you control all of those kinds of things. So you want to make sure, take some time to go into these settings. You may not have even known that they were all here, but you definitely want to make sure that your profile visibility, is off for that purpose. Now, the next thing you'll be able to see who sees your connections. You always want to say yes to that. You don't want there to be any restriction in terms of who can see your LinkedIn profile. And then you also want to make sure that they're viewing your entire profile. What change do you want to make? Why show just a portion of your profile? LinkedIn really is about leveraging you and who you are. So ensure that that is definitely something that you have turned on. In addition to that, you also want to take a look at communications. Who can communicate with you? How can people reach you? This is important because when you're sending invitations or receiving invitations, you don't want there to be any restriction. The setting that says, oh, I only want people on LinkedIn to find me, why would you want that? Google is the first place that they're going to view your LinkedIn profile. You want your profile viewed on LinkedIn and off. So ensure that that setting is very clear. Let's see. The last thing is back to visibility really quickly. Down here at the bottom, you'll see managing your active status. Choose who can see when you are on LinkedIn. I don't know about you, but I want to know when my target market might be showing up. Maybe it's like, having the water cooler talk. If they're there, maybe it's an opportunity to connect with them as well. So use that depending on what your threshold is. And I usually use LinkedIn for about 15 to 20 minutes twice a week, where I'm making my posts, scheduling things out, connecting, checking out my groups. And that's what's really important, just like on any social media, is ensuring that you have the opportunity to connect with your people and build your audience as you go. So let's go into the LinkedIn profile itself. And I'll share another couple of things there. First and foremost, you'll see when you are logged into your page, you've got this edit button. Now, if you do not have a background image here, if you do not have a photo or a picture that actually shows what it is you do, what it is your business is all about, who's your target market, that is real estate that is just being lost. You definitely want to use that background image for the purpose of leveraging that information. In addition to that, you want to make sure that your headline and your photo, if you cannot invest in a professional background, headshot, then make sure that the headshot is relevant to your business. Go outside, take a lifestyle shot. A photo with a picture with your phone photo is absolutely fine. Just make sure that it's professionally done with a clear background. Make sure that the whites of your eyes can be seen, because sometimes people may want to click on that, and that creates a larger view of that image. So ensure that your photo, and the only time you should have an image with your dog or cat in there is if you're a dog or cat groomer. Okay, so make sure that that photo is relevant to your business as well. Now, your headline, you have 120 characters in your headline to maximize that, because that's the first place that is going to be searched as you are as individuals are searching for your business or the things that you provide. That's not a lot of characters when you look at 120 characters. So make sure that your target keywords, right? Check with your marketing people. Google Analytics will tell you what your keywords should be in terms of ensuring that in your headline, in those 120 characters, you ensure that you have that keyword that is relevant to your business. In addition to that, right up here, what you'll see, it says edit public profile and URL. This allows you to customize the URL, the address of your LinkedIn profile landing page. It might be, some numbers right now. It might be just your first initial and last name. But when you click on Edit Public Profile, what you'll be able to do is set all your public profile settings right in here. You'll see right here, edit your custom profile. If you click on that link and see numbers for your LinkedIn profile, you're doing yourself a disservice. Use your full name whenever possible, because if someone is looking and searching for you, and I've done this many times, I want to know maybe somebody on the board of directors at an organization that I want to speak with. I look for them on Google, and if their name isn't there, I can't find their LinkedIn page. So make sure that you can be found by making sure to use your custom vanity, what they call it, URL for your page. Now, if it's a company or business page that you want found, then obviously you want to use that for your company or business page, but your LinkedIn profile should definitely be your name individually. In addition to that, when we go into this section, you'll obviously also see, excuse me, all of the information and content in the About page, some of the specialties, and your About page is pretty lengthy, and we'll talk a little bit about what are some of the key things you should put in that About page here in a moment. You'll see the articles that you've written or posted. You'll see some of your recent activity. So this is that way behind the scenes look at all of those things that you have. In addition to that, in this area is where you can really see what settings you have for the public, all of the LinkedIn members in LinkedIn, but all of the LinkedIn members outside. Your content should be visible on Google and Yahoo and Bing, all of the SEO, all of the search engines, and you just go ahead and click all of those things. Now, of course, if you prefer that you are not viewable in all of those things, then you can turn those things off accordingly. But of course, why would you want to restrict what they can see? Go ahead and turn all of those things on to help make sure you are found with all of that information in all of those categories. So going back to the profile information, we've targeted our headline. We've got 120 characters. We've included the fact that I need my keywords in there. I've customized my URL to ensure, that it says my name. And listen, I get it that we want to be humorous in our LinkedIn profiles. If we do have, don't use that in your URL. I've seen custom profiles that says, Steve James, sales rock star, right? We don't want to put that there, but if you want to leverage that, your profile headline can certainly be where you do that. And I have decided in mind to add a few of these, great emojis. The butterfly is one of the icons, not only of my brand, as you can see, but in my book. So use the emojis that you can find as well. And if I have time, I'll share with you where I get all of these emojis. And then, of course, I've added a little bit of a personal flair, AKA Craft Geek. When I speak and someone, shares my bio, at the end it says, she's a wife, mother, and craft geek. So I want to add a little bit of a personal touch within that 120 characters. So remember, the value add, your background photo is critical. And this background photo here, there's that pencil right up there. If you see that pencil, that's where you start. That's your go-to to ensure that you can make those changes. And as you can see here, I have that background, and feel free to change these. Make sure that, if you have, that space, that you can change those seasonally. In fact, when I was doing my book launch, it said, we're going to be at the Barnes & Noble. We're going to be at SHRM National. We're going to be in Vegas. So I changed those to meet the need of where I was going and what I was doing at the time. So again, that quarterly review of your LinkedIn profile, leverage that opportunity and take some time. These backgrounds were simply created in Canva, canva.com. And I do believe they have a setting for the size requirements for that background. So you simply, delete the photo if you want. You can crop it, change the photo by going into your files and finding the photo just like you would a Zoom background or anything. And then of course, clicking apply. And that's how you get your background photo. Same's true for your image here. And I highly recommend, if you don't have a photo of yourself, you're missing the opportunity. Much like on any social media platform, I am less likely, as are most users on LinkedIn, to connect with someone if they don't have a profile picture. I get contacts and connect requests all the time. If you don't have a picture, that doesn't tell me much about you. So I choose not to connect if there's no picture. I'm sure I'm not the only one. So make sure it's a professional profile photo. Again, it doesn't have to be a headshot, although the Chamber of Commerce has wonderful photographers that you can tap into for the purpose of creating your headshots. So definitely check out our chamber directory. In addition to that, let's go down a little bit and add some information, change some things and some do's and don'ts, right? Don't include a photo of you if you've cropped people out of your image. Okay, we can tell that that's something that you did. Take the time, set up your tripod, get your, I don't know, what's that long thing that, the selfie stick out, and take a nice photo of just you. And use all of the frame, right? This is really about choosing a true to life picture. If it's older than 4 years, you might want to go ahead, and change that. If it doesn't look like you, because then you do the one-on-one and they're like, I was expecting that person. So make sure that it's a current photo as well. As we continue to look through some of these profile changes, what we're going to do is go down here and take a look right here in terms of open to. You're open to is if you're, open to finding a job and hiring. I'm hoping LinkedIn changes that for us in terms of, entrepreneurs, that says seeking new clients, but we can get that accomplished and I'll show you how. And then you can always add new sections right here, but let's talk about the core sections first. As you scroll down, you'll see your about. Your about page, and again, that pencil says, this is how you make those changes and edits. I will click on that about, and it'll load what I currently have. Now, as you can see behind the screen right here, you've got about 4 lines that are, unless that user that is looking at your profile clicks on your about, they really don't see as much of that about. Now I've got mine super long, and I'm actually making changes to bring these links up further. So let's go ahead and do that. In this window, you can, just like in any platform or any, Microsoft Word document, you can copy and paste. I like to put all of my data and information into Microsoft Word, edit it there, make it fun, take a look, put your emojis, all that kind of stuff, and then copy it into the about, so that when I get ready to do my LinkedIn profile for my quarterly update, I've got everything right there ready to go, okay? So let's say I just move these up here and I want to make sure that they go to the top of the list. I'll just copy those up there and save that change. And now you see those links are now in the viewable about section. Now, as you can see, those aren't necessarily clickable links, but they're viewable. So the user has to copy and paste them to be able to access that. So use your about page to leverage those first 4 lines. Again, you've already taken care of your keywords in your headline. Make sure that those keywords show up. The about page helps you to expand a little bit on what it is you do. And I highly recommend, if you've got your 60-second commercial, your 45-second commercial, this is where you put that one-liner, that elevator pitch, that one sentence, catch them kind of thing. And mine says, I show business owners and managers HR compliance and employee relations strategies so that, right, what's the win for that? They reduce risk, increase employee retention, and improve business performance, right? You know immediately what I do. Now, If that's under 120 characters and you want to put that in your headline, I highly recommend that as well. It's really about customizing it to you. Both are equally as effective. Now let's take a look at this featured section. This featured section has several things that you can really leverage the dynamic imagery that you always want to use. It allows us to put media, images, PDFs, videos. This is where your resume becomes that three-dimensional view of you. In your featured section, you can see right here, what's the very first thing? Book a call, right? The call to action is critical on your LinkedIn profile. Just like our websites might have that little chat box that opens up and says, hey, if you need anything, ask me a question. So should your LinkedIn profile. That call to action should be that very first thing in your featured section, because as you'll see, if somebody wants to look, at discussing a membership or our training platform and how we can serve them, they click right on that link, and I'll show you how to build this, and it'll go right to my Calendly page where they can book a call with me. Very similar to that Facebook as well. Get that call to action in that very first section for your features. In addition to that, let's see, go back there, close that. Here's how we do that. So again, we can edit it. I'm going to edit it because I don't want to add anything necessarily, but you would click add at that point. And then these are all of the things that my featured section shows about me. You can see it's not just text. These are those PDFs, those images, the media. I've got my book a call. And when you go ahead and add something, let's go ahead and add something so you can see that. So we'll check add. We'll add media. It'll open up whatever I want, to kind of leverage there. Let's see what I've downloaded recently. Let me see what photo I've got in here. I don't know what I got. Let's see. We'll edit this one, and you can see that upload. So right in here, you see the image file is there. You've uploaded the image. You've got the title of that media right here. You've got the description. And when you click this link, you will see the information about the connector makeover, and the URL in there links directly. Let me scroll down a little bit to our website. So click on that, view the website, and it launches them to the website. So it really does help in that featured section to have an extension of you and your website, your media pages, websites, your calendar links, things of that nature. And obviously that's taken a minute to load up here, but let's go back real quick. It will load. And then of course you have some opportunity to put videos. This is our CMM commercial. It lives on YouTube, so you can link to that as well. And when you link to that, if I wanted to edit, I can edit that image. You can see the title and description. And you do that by, again, adding the link right up here in your featured section. When you add the link, I want to add a link. This is where you add a link to your calendar page, add a link to your website, add a link to a commercial, add a link to wherever you want them to go. In your first 3 featured segments are some calls to action and additional ways of connecting with you. So if I click add link, you'll see you paste that URL right in there. So you're going to take the address, in this case, my complete makeover website page. We put that in the link and we click add. Now I'm not going to do that because I don't want to add anything more, but that you'll get to see that. And then it'll ask you for the image file and all of the information that goes with it. I put it the whole page, the title, your description, and this will be included organically as well based on, I'm going to get technical here, the metadata you have in your website. If your pictures, if your pages are optimized for SEO, then that will come up first based on that address you put in there. So I'm not going to save that. You would save it, of course. And you would again save it. I'm discarding just because mine is already built out. And then when you go back to my page, what you see is the real estate, those first 3 featured sections right there, right up front in that first view that they see of the profile. So I recommend, what's the call to action? Do you want them to visit your website? Do you have a commercial, or, you know, what is it that you want them to do and see about you? Put those first and foremost in your featured section. So I'm going to stop here and see if we've got any questions. We've got lots more to cover. I'm going to have to start talking a little bit faster, but let's open it up for any questions that you might have. And again, you know, an hour isn't enough to go through every single detail, but at least you see where you can go. You've got some ideas in terms of what you can do to optimize it so far. What questions do we have, if any?
So I had a question. The featured where you have book a call with me candidly, and you had that image of HBO Resources Inc. That's it. You created that image, the HBO, correct? So how did you connect?
Yeah, that is my company logo.
Okay, so that would be an image that you put there, right? So like when you clicked on it to open up another window, the like where you said, okay, book a call with me and then go to the web to whatever your calendar is. How do you do that?
So you're going to click on add.
Okay.
And because we're adding a link, we want this link to go somewhere. We're going to add that link. If we wanted to only add an image or a picture file, we would click media. If we wanted to add a PDF, maybe my bio or my resume, we would click media because we don't want it to go anywhere. So for this purpose, you're going to add the link. You'll add the link here. I'm just going to use this for now. You'll click that. Because my website is optimized, it automatically pulls this up. Let me see if I find something that doesn't.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so you put in that
to it. Yeah, let me see if I can. Let me go.
I thought it was something like you had to create that image.
You do have to select an image, right? Because the reason that's coming up on that page is because my website landing page is optimized. When everything is attached, my website is going to show the logo of the company,
Okay,
right? So it's okay. Let me see if I can find another URL here to use.
Could you put the 4Kids one just so I can see?
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put it in the chat for me.
Yeah. Oh, and then well, it's the number 4 and then kids, KIDS period US. That's it. Okay. So all right. So that is a picture of an event that we're doing. So
that's the one. And then see how it automatically says give hope for kids description. You have in your website meta descriptions that automatically pull up when you use that link. So that's why it's important. SEO is the next thing. We've got some great web developers and designers at the chamber. So call any one of them and help you optimize that section so that what happens on your site when you want to use your URL, what you want shown is shown, and we've got some great chamber members that can help you with that. So definitely check that directory. Okay. So I'm going to discard that. Obviously, if you were doing that, you would save that. And then what other questions? Deanna?
Yeah, that was really helpful. I really appreciate it.
You bet. You bet. Any other questions? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. So as I mentioned before, you know, you've got a lot of things here in terms of experiences and what have you. And again, you know, the LinkedIn profile really isn't a resume. I think it's important that, and they just added a new section called projects. You can actually put on there what projects you're working on. Maybe like Deanna mentioned, there's an event that's going on. Maybe if you are attending something specifically, and I'm looking for my note here, maybe Tony with Aflac is going to be at an event. Maybe he's got a booth or a tabletop or something. You can use those projects sections as well. For us consultants, maybe a project recently did for a client, such as myself. Maybe I did an HR audit for a client. I can put that on there so that that creates more credibility in terms of who I serve. But we'll get to that in a moment. I just wanted to throw that out there, look for it. But in the experience, as you can see, this is the chronology of your, truly your resume. I've used it to kind of do a chronology of what has occurred in my business, the launch of the book, my founding National Management Training Week. You know what's relevant to you and your business, and your experience is just, go into the experience section and click add. Now, let's say that this truly is a LinkedIn 101 for you and you're not even sure where to add these sections. What you'll do is you'll see right up top in your main header here, you'll see this add profiles. Maybe you don't have experience, you don't have features, you don't have any of that, right? Let's take that there. This is where you'll click right on that button, add profile section. And now you can see all the different sections you can add. In the core, you can add education, a position you've held, or skills. In the recommended, that's where you see the add featured. That's that featured section that I just showed you. It actually has like 5 or 6 things in there. But again, what is going to be viewed when the profile shows up first? Typically that 1, 2, 3 pieces, unless somebody's got this huge monitor, right? Maybe another one might show up. So leverage those first 3. Licenses and certifications. Maybe you've taken some courses. Make sure to get time to talk about that. So you add these sections through this add profile section portion. And then maybe there's more you want to do here. Maybe you want to share the profile in a message somewhere. If you want to download everything to a PDF and save it. I do have in my quarterly review, I download my stuff to PDF because you never know what can happen with technology. And it's always good to know what you've built out and what you've included. And they'll send you like an email when it's downloadable already. So that's how you add these sections. About is automatic. Featured has to be added. Obviously your experience, skills, all of those things. So you add your experience right here. The plus button and that pen are your friend, okay? Add a section, edit is what those plus and pencil does for you. So we'll go down my experience. You can see I'm showing all 25 experiences. Very few and far between will people really open up the entire thing. So leverage those first few in terms of what's going on and what's relevant to you, currently. And again, it doesn't always say what position I held. As you can see here, this is actually that I'm a complete manager makeover management development trainer. Here is where I share, I founded National Management Training Week. So really be creative, because that wouldn't necessarily be on a resume, but it does live on LinkedIn because those are that subject matter expert. That's that, I like to say, I'm from Brooklyn, if you didn't know that, street cred that you want to add to your LinkedIn profile. So let's go down. You've got, I was playing with this last night, so there's some duplications. I guess I didn't delete that. Your education can be added in there as well. And then you've got your licenses, your certifications, as many as you want. And these logos actually show up when that URL is put in there. So whatever's in the meta description of that website for that URL will pull through. So you don't have to worry about having that logo necessarily. In the event it does not, make sure you have that logo as well. Leverage all of those experiences, all of those licenses and certifications for your LinkedIn profile. And making sure that the most important in your industry are up top, right? I like to think about in all things the first three lines of your page, the first images in your featured section, the first three last experiences in your experience section, right? Now you can add several, but those first three tend to be the ones that really show up so that when they're doing that one page scan, the most important things are first. And then so there's that. Now, when I'm going to come out of here for a moment just to show you the recommendations and show you a little bit about how that works. Let's see, I want to make sure I'm hitting all the must-have things. The LinkedIn profile section, as you can see here, you can see profile views over here. Now, when you go to profile, you'll see your analytics here, profile views here, engaging with your feed. So definitely click on that. One of the things I wanted to also mention is in settings and privacy, because it just came up on my note here. They used to let you search this information. I've got to try to remember where it is to ensure that your settings, that you are not having anybody view your profile. I'd love to use somebody as a test model here. Deanna, may I use your LinkedIn profile as a test model? Would that be okay? Yeah, go ahead and put that in the chat for me. I see Atlee. Hey, Atlee. Let me see. Where are they all? Here we go. I see it there. So I'm gonna use you as a test model, if I may. Just to show a point, I actually should put that in. There it is. So I am looking for Deanna, and I'm looking for somewhere to, donate or volunteer. And I'm really just looking at all the nonprofits in my area and what have you. And I come on Deanna's page and great picture, lovely background, right on point there, right? Use that real estate. She's got her contact information. She's leveraging those features. You could tell that you could share this course yourself, Deanna. Great job on this here so far. But one thing I wanted to, here's some insight scoop. This is the only reason why you're here today. You see this people also viewed. This people also viewed section actually lists potentially your competitors. Your competitors, if you're an entrepreneur, people who do something similar, people who may have the same position as you as well. And so we want to turn that off. When you turn that off, I have people who are on my website, on my LinkedIn page, that are, what do I like to call it, a captured audience. Right? You don't want them going to find anybody else. You want them to stay focused on you. So how do we add that? How do you make sure that we are turning that off? Because if you're looking for HR consultation, the last thing I want is this image with all of my competitors for them to click away from my LinkedIn profile, right? When we do that, we're going to go back to my profile here. We're going to go to settings and privacy from that drop down. See the me button? You got my picture up there. I am going to go into my settings and privacy. And this is where I mentioned, spend some time in here, my friends. Go down the list and see, how do you want to leverage your settings? Just like Facebook, right? When it first came out, I didn't want anybody but my friends knowing I was there, right? And now everybody see me, right? That kind of thing. So you'll want here, and then you're going to look for your, it's account preferences. They might have changed it. Things happen quickly here. And then you'll want to go to your site preferences, right? Your site preferences. And then you'll want to go down to people also viewed. See that? People also viewed. Means that no, you definitely want to change that. If it says yes, flip it off. Do not allow them to see your competitors, right? Stay on my page, right? So definitely turn that off. That's the one setting I highly recommend that you do like immediately during this class, because then, and then obviously, you know, go scroll to the bottom. It should say save. I didn't make a change, but if it doesn't change, just flip that to no, and you're good to go. Your viewers will now not see your competitors or the people also viewed section of your profile. Keep them sticky to your page. So go ahead and turn that off, Deanna.
Lisa, can you go over that again? Because I missed the step.
So you're gonna go, I'm gonna go back to my home page. And this will be recorded as well if you need to, you know, check on the Miramar Pines Regional Chamber, a lot to say, YouTube page. You'll go right here underneath your photo. You'll click on the photo. You'll be in the account preferences right here. From account preferences, go to site preferences, right? Your site, your actual LinkedIn site. And then you'll go down to the people also viewed. Time in the settings, go page by page, line by line on all of these settings that you can modify so that you can really optimize how you want to present your profile on LinkedIn, okay? So let's go ahead and continue. I'm gonna go back to my profile. Let's talk a little about some of the differences in some of the settings that we have here. I want to share with you, let's see, let me go to my network real quick. I want to show you skill recommendation, stuff like that. Let me see where that is. And then I'm going to show you the public view if we have time. Wow, that hour goes fast. So,
Yeah.
of leveraging sections, right? We're going to add sections called skills, endorsements, and recommendations. We all know what's going on in the digital space and digital marketing. People are likely to look at your likes, your follows, your shares, but more importantly, the testimonials and the reviews in LinkedIn, it's called recommendations that are being given to you or your organization. And you want to make sure that you're reaching that. That's the importance in terms of the, it's not really an algorithm, but recommendations are much more important. Recommendations are viewed higher because you have to send someone a recommendation for you, and I'll show you how to do that. You have to send somebody a request for a recommendation, and they actively go in and they give you the recommendation, and then you approve it for that purpose. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about that. So endorsements and skills are great, but they're not as highly viewed as the recommendations. The more recommendations, just like in anything, right, the better the reviews. Endorsements are less specific. They're not as credible because I can sit here and go on Deanna's page and endorse her for anything without even knowing her, right? I, in fact, highly recommend that we don't do that and remove endorsements that aren't really, relevant or that somebody just decided to do in the beginning, right? Recommendations are written by other members. They're of high quality and they signal trust in who you are and what you do. So let's go ahead. I am going to go back to Deanna's page. Search for her. And I just had her up here a minute ago. So let's see. I don't think she's going to do that. So here we are. So here is, so we're not friends yet. So I can't ask her for recommendation, right? I mean, in the normal world, right? So I'm going to go ahead and accept her invitation. Thank you for reaching out to connect, Deanna. And then I can write her a message back. And this is perfect. You see how she's written me a nice note. If you're going to connect with people, go ahead and put a personal note. Where did you see them? How did you encounter them? It makes it more personal. You know, the statistics say, you know, anywhere between 8 to 11 touches of a person. That's just one touch of the 8 to 11 to build rapport as a business owner. But that's another Chamber University session. So then you see her contact information. Let's make sure she's got everything out there. Oh my gosh, you're gonna have a happy birthday really soon. So make sure that all of that information is out there, that your phone number is there, your website address. How can people contact you if your phone number is not in there? And again, that's on your profile page. You actually get to select what it is you see, and all of that is visible. You can turn some of that off. Again, solely a preference on how you want to be viewed in your profile page. So let's say I am going to go to Deanna and I am going to request a recommendation. You saw that show up. Now we are connected. You can only do a recommendation request for somebody who's a first level connection. And then what's the relationship, right? How do we know each other? Was she a client? Did she attend a webinar as of today? So let's see, I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna say, I think we were students together. Let's see, we're seniors. This is all of the different ways. So I'm going to say that I worked with you because we're working together today in terms of a training session, and they're building that out a lot more. So let's say we are going to do, I don't have this session, but this is a human resources consultation kind of, you know, HBL sponsored this. Please write me a recommendation. How did you enjoy the LinkedIn seminar today? Okay, and then I'm going to send that. She'll respond. I have an opportunity after that. I get the notification. She's filled it out. I get to look at that and then post it to my profile. We don't have time to go through all of that today. I want to leave a few things, you know, for topics of conversation or for some questions. My friends, that was a lot to you know, you got the hose, the water hose today, but you'll look at this, you know, recording again and again to hopefully navigate those few things. Again, if you're going to invite someone to connect, add a personal note. Make sure that you tell them why it is you think it's relevant for you to connect with them. Ensure that as an all-star rating, your checklist is make sure that you've got your industry in there, your location in there, your current position at the very least, in terms of your experience on there, that you've got, you know, at least 2 past positions. Remember what I said about that law of 3, right? The first 3 lines of that headline, 120 words, make sure the keyword is in there. Ensure that your featured section has some great imagery and things that people want to click on, right? The clickbait photos and stuff like that, but make sure they're call to action related as well. Book a call, visit with me, visit my website, make sure that they have an opportunity to learn more about you. Build out your education. Skills are important, but recommendations are so important. And you get an all-star rating if you've got at least all of those things plus your profile photo and your at least a minimum of 50 connections. Again, you know, it's the quarter end, so I am going to be working on updating my LinkedIn profile. Highly recommend that you do that as well. And again, I'm going to look in the chat real quick for any questions and take some time for questions with you all as well.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. Thank you, everybody, for being here. If you want to see more of Lisa, you can connect with her via LinkedIn, but also she is part of our directory. She's part of our board of directors and our governance of the exec board. So if you need any further questions, we'll send you emails, but thank you for being here at Chamber University on LinkedIn on quarter 2. So thank you very much for being here today.
Awesome.